Today on Dirt Lifestyle, finally, we're going to get back to this 2021 Toyota Tacoma build. I've got enough parts to throw some stuff together, and I've got some really big camping trips coming up. So even though we're not going to be able to do the full build, which is going to be like 37s and craziness, we're at least going to be able to get started and get some of these mods that this thing needs really bad to help it be more organized on the trail. Today's video is sponsored by Techron. I recently had the opportunity to speak with some of the engineers at Techron because I had some very specific questions and I needed some very specific answers. And the two products that I asked about the most was their complete fuel system cleaner and their high mileage fuel system cleaner. So their complete fuel system cleaner is the highest level of detergent of all the cleaners that they sell, making it the most powerful. And this is perfect for a guy like me who has a 2021 Toyota Tacoma, and I wanna make sure I keep that brand new fuel system functioning like it's brand new. I wanna make sure it doesn't build up, get gummed up over time because I'm using poor quality fuels or whatever. This is gonna help keep that from happening. The high mileage fuel system cleaner is perfect for my Land Rover Discovery, which has 200K on it, or my Mini Cooper I just got. And the way that they formulate this is for gradual cleaning, so it doesn't have as much detergent, making sure it slowly cleans that fuel system up, making it a lot safer to use in a high miles vehicle. They also put added corrosion inhibitors in there because if you've got an old fuel tank that hasn't been cleaned since it came from the factory, and it could be slowly adding corrosion to your sending unit or to the insides of your lines or whatever, and these inhibitors make it to where that doesn't happen near as easily. The next time we talk about Techron products, I think I want to talk about emulsifiers because I found that really fascinating. After waiting for more than 6 months for some parts in this taco, I'm still just a couple months out from being able to put it on 37s. But until then, there's a bunch of stuff that I'd like to put on that's going to make it way better just in stock form. So we're going to install 3 super easy upgrades onto this taco because it just needs it so bad. Starting with this decked system, which is going to mount into the bed of the truck, making it to where we can access stuff and we can pile stuff on top of stuff. I hope that makes sense. So the whole idea is that whenever you pull this down, you can pull drawers out and you're gonna have all your stuff organized in these drawers, but because it doesn't go all the way up to the lid, it makes sure you can still stack stuff on top of it, meaning that you can stack stuff on stuff and then still access the stuff underneath your stuff. So I hope you were able to follow along with that. It's just that simple. Then we're install this plate on the tailgate, and this is gonna make it to where we're covering up those goofy little ribs that they always seem to put on the back of tailgates, making it to where you spill your drink or whatever it is that you set on it because it just tips over. Then once all that's done, we're gonna put a roof rack on the roof because if you look at the size of the roof on this truck, it's like the same length as our bed. So imagine the amount of space we're gonna open up just by making it to where we can throw some extra gear up there. We're going to start with this decked drawer system, and to be completely honest, these were some of the best instructions of anything I've ever installed. All the bags were labeled clearly, all the instructions were labeled clearly, and they even go into detail on how to prep everything ahead of time. After installing a few shims that I think are probably just there to keep this from wobbling as you're going down the road, it's time to move on to these things they call tailgate brackets. These tailgate brackets are going to be an anchoring point for the deck system itself to keep it in place as you're going down the road. Instead of using the backing plates they supplied with the kit, I'm using something called riv nuts, and it's essentially just a threaded rivet. The only problems that I have with these backing plates is that I don't have someone to hold the opposite side as I try to thread bolts in or whatnot, so it's just easier for me to use riv nuts. This is something that they use all over this bed from the factory, so to me this is a completely appropriate solution for somebody in my situation. Now we're going to prefab and assemble all these panels on the floor, and the reason that we're doing this is because there's a whole bunch of bolts and attachment hardware that you can't access with your tool once it's installed in the bed. So we're going to prefab everything, including put the lid on it to make sure that everything lines up whenever we tighten up all these various panels, and then once we pull the lid back off of it, we can then walk it up, drop it in the bed, and the way everything goes together from here is pretty much self-explanatory. I think this is a perfect time to mention that I am using an impact to tighten every single one of these nuts and bolts, and it says specifically in the instructions in multiple places, do not do that. I'm someone who has installed thousands of different things like this in my trade and in my shop, and I'm very comfortable using a tool like this. I also am using a 12 volt impact instead of an 18, specifically for the reason that it is much less torque on stuff like this. That said, just because you see Nate do it doesn't mean you should do it. I just feel like I should give you an explanation as to why I decided to go against the instructions in this instance. "15, 16 years ago when I started plumbing, I saw a guy on a job site that had a drawer system in the bed of his truck, and I have wanted one for myself ever since. I just think it's the coolest idea, especially for a tradesman, because it's a great way to organize and secure your tools. I've always loved the versatility that you gain with a system like this. Now, this system is great. This system wasn't even around back then, I don't think, but this system is great specifically for hobbyists, in my opinion, because of the fact that they made this so versatile with all these different containers that you can put in there. So the reason, what do I mean by that? You could fill that with all your fishing gear because you like to go fishing every weekend with your buddies. And then they have a special decked backpack that could be your diaper bag. So you just pull the fishing gear out when you get home on Sunday, put the diaper bag in there, and you're back into dad mode, and you're not in weekend mode anymore. It's great. But then whenever the weekend comes, you pull the diaper bag out, you grab your fishing stuff, you throw it back in there, just as an example. I love the versatility. As a gear dork, I think this is so cool to be able to have all this different stuff pre-packed, and I can just throw my camping gear in there, or you can, if you go to the beach a lot, throw your beach stuff in there, whatever you need, and you have all that opened up just with a system like this. Now, future plans for this. I need to mount a 37-inch spare because this is going to be on 37s, and so I'm going to build some sort of a spare tire carrier that's going to mount into the top of this decked system. And for that reason, I don't know if I'm going to mount these little rails yet. These little rails are cool because it adds, you can, let's see if I can undo it with one hand. You can take these little anchor points and you can mount them around, and between these anchor points here, and then some of these factory ones that I can still access, it's going to make it super easy to secure a load on top of this, which is very important to me. I don't want anything flying out of here as I'm on my way to camping or on my way home from camping or anything like that. Oh, shoot. I went to close the tailgate and I forgot. One more thing to mention. This SnailArmor Tailgate cap or tailgate plate, whatever, I'll put the link in the description to it. I lost the hardware for it, so I'm going to have to go and get some hardware maybe this weekend. So unfortunately, you're not going to see me install this in this episode, but you can see where I'm going to this. He did such a great job on this logo and whatnot, so I'll put a link in the description. I know some of you guys are going to be interested in this, so I'll definitely put a link in the description to it, or for it. And he said that he can make custom logos for anybody that wants one. So make sure that if you're in the market for one of these, check out SnailArmor. This roof rack from Sherpa Equipment does have some instructions online, but to be completely honest, I didn't really feel that I needed them. Everything was very easy to understand where it's supposed to be located, and once I went through all the hardware and I started putting black washers with black washers and whatnot and just kind of counting everything up, it made it really obvious what hardware needs to be mounted and what locations, and I just went from there. This Toyota Tacoma comes from the factory with mounting holes for a roof rack under the weather stripping. So we just pull the weather stripping back, poke holes through the little membrane that seals it off from the weather, and make sure now that we can thread our hardware into each hole just so we're not trying to fuss around with it whenever we have the rack mounted up here. I ordered a bunch more mounting accessories than I needed from Sherpa Equipment because I don't know exactly what's going to end up here. I think it's going to be some boxes and whatnot, but they have a whole bunch of various adapter plates and special mounting doodads, so I decided to toss it all up there, bolt it on, and I can shift it around later. Bear with me for this outro, folks. I am so hot and tired. It is crazy hot in here. I need some water and some rest. So if I misspeak or anything, just relax. Just please bear with me. This rack looks awesome in my opinion. I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are. I think that this rack's gonna be kind of controversial. The flat edges and all the straight lines on this, it just doesn't look like that old school tube look that a lot of guys like me like to build. And so I think for that reason, some folks aren't gonna like it, but I personally think it looks so perfect for this truck. And beyond that, this truck became so much more practical by adding that big pad on the roof that we can strap boxes down or whatever. So anyway, I will put the links to all the products you saw today in the description. What other questions am I gonna get? I for sure am gonna get questions about the outlet and the bed. That outlet's worthless. It's the whole reason I didn't relocate it, because it's 400 watts whenever you're in park and the thing's running. But whenever you put it in drive, it drops down to 100 watts, making it worthless. Because the only thing I could do with something less than 100 watts would be maybe charge one of my Milwaukee batteries if I don't use the rapid charger. Like, it's that low amount of wattage. So I can't use my fridge on it. I can't charge my Jackery on it. It's just worthless. So if I want to have power back there, I'm just going to put a 12-volt socket, because with a 12-volt socket with some heavy-duty wires going back there, I can absolutely keep the fridge running, and I can charge the Jackery at the same time, as long as I have thick enough wire going back there, and I wouldn't need to invert it at all. I'll just keep it 12-volt. So that's the reason I did it that way. Also, I know I'm going to get questions about using the using the riv nuts in the bed, because I don't have an assistant here. I don't have someone to hold the brackets on the back side like the decked instructions tell you. And so I don't have a way to have someone like help me sandwich the plates together in order to mount this bed. So for that reason, I just use riv nuts. A lot of people don't realize this. The factory applications use riv nuts like crazy. All of the factory mounting stuff in this composite bed, all riv nuts, 100% of it. And so riv nuts are used in industrial applications and can be quite strong for the right application. I feel completely comfortable using the riv nuts that I did in the bed. So that's the whole reason that I abandoned the sandwich plate idea, even though it is stronger from decked, and I just kind of went rogue. So proceed with caution. Don't always do what Nate does, but just know that I come to this from a place of familiarity and education in this, and I'm completely confident in it. I hope I'm still speaking English here. I'm so hot. Let's see, what else? So I can't remember if I've already said this or not, but I will definitely put the links to the stuff you saw in today's video in like the description, and even stuff that wasn't sponsored, just like my riv nut tool, all that will go in the Amazon shopping cart as usual. So if there's something you saw me use tool wise, or something you saw me install and you want to see where I got it, just click on the descriptions click on the links in the descriptions below. And I got to get out of here. I am on fire and I don't want to pass out. So like, subscribe, all that other stuff. If you want to help support the channel, go to thedirtlifestyle.com, t-shirts, hats, net gaiters. We have a Patreon link on there. And if you want to be a part of the Dirtbag community on Facebook, there is a group called Dirtbag Mafia, and the guys on there are outstanding, and gals. Everyone is so knowledgeable. We've had very few people that we've had to kick out of the group, which is amazing for Facebook. So if you have any questions you need answered, just join that group and ask away. People will be there to help you. And I'm so proud of that community that we've built. It's just awesome to be a part of it. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm @YourLifestyleNate. We'll see you next time.